Justin Ross, good to see that he was on the field. Didn't make much of an impact. 4 catches, 26 yards. Joseph Nagata, though, a guy that you've been waiting on for a long time. Everybody else, he was the one guy that created some kind of offense.
Yeah, that was one of the surprises, or if you want to call it a surprise. I thought he's had it in him. He just needed to be healthy. But I guess I shouldn't call it a surprise. But let's say I was glad to see him get on the field, have some success, and show what he can do. Because I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's got a world of potential. This is an NFL talent. He's just got to stay healthy. And we saw some flashes of it Saturday night. He was really, to me, the lone bright spot, in the offense Saturday night. He's got a high ceiling. He's just got to stay healthy.
Braden Galloway's a guy that he had 27 catches last year, so he's a good player. But to my recollection, had at least one drop, and then he had one ball stripped out of his hands, not a fumble, but it should have been a catch. That was a pretty big play. It was around midfield. It was like a 3rd and 5. Needed that, obviously, to continue the drive, and he let the defensive back knock it out.
Yeah, Clemson fans, since the day Jordan Leggett left, have been pining for the tight ends to be more involved in the offense. Well, critical 3rd down, he hits him right in the numbers, and Galloway drops it, has it stripped out, whatever you want to call it. He's got to catch that ball. And that was a critical 3rd down. You're only down 1 score, even though it felt like you were down 3. You're still only down 1 score, chance to tie the game up. You got to make that catch. You got to make that catch. And he didn't. I don't even know what to say about that. Talking
Clemson football, we got Jason Priester here, of course, from allclemson.com. So please join him right there. You see the website right there on the banner from SI, allclemson.com with Jason Priester. All right. Anytime offenses struggle, Jason, you know what the deal is. The fans are like, there's something wrong with the offense. If we had a 51-48 game, then everybody'd be going crazy about these offenses are amazing and not really that concerned about the defense, unless it's your defense. So there needs to be some credit given to this Clemson defense, because all I heard all night from people calling me, obviously after the game with the call-in show and everything else, is obviously Georgia's offense is horrible. Yes, they've got issues to work through too, but they don't have a horrible offense. They got 5 stars all over the place. They got a really good quarterback. He's like a top 10 quarterback in the country. This was a great defensive effort, especially minus Tyler Davis.
Yeah, I once I found out for sure that Tyler Davis was not going to play, that's concerning. He's the anchor of that run defense. So you start to worry about how much success Georgia's going to be able to have running the ball. And I thought Clemson's defensive front held up extremely well against that Georgia running game. I was just thoroughly impressed by the defensive effort. They came out motivated. They remember the last time they were on the field. They got punched in the mouth. They got out physical. They didn't respond. And they have used that as motivation all off season. And it showed the other night. I thought they played fantastic. Even on the back end where some of the questions were, freshman Andrew Makuba, man, he was phenomenal Saturday night. And if you'd have told me he was going to start and play that much, I'd have never believed it. And Brent Venables said today he probably would have started even if Nolan Turner wasn't hurt. It would have been him and Turner starting. But he was phenomenal. The back end of that defense was really good. The pass coverage was good. The pass rush was good. And when you can slow that Georgia running game, you're not going to stop it, but when you can slow it to the point that they did the other night, you're going to give your team a chance to win. That's all you can ask from them. They gave the Clemson offense more than enough of a chance to win. They did everything but go out and win the game for them. And they kept it close enough to where if they'd have got the right turnover, maybe they could have. But you can't ask any more out of that defense, because that's a pretty good Georgia offense. They held to 235 yards the other night.
Yeah, they faced a ton of talent on that Georgia offense, and of course Georgia's got their issues. Again, they're not running on full cylinders by any stretch, but nobody else. I'm going to make this statement right now. Nobody else is going to be holding Georgia to a field goal.
Yeah,
that's basically what they did.
It was impressive, and like I said a minute ago, watching that thing unfold, it never felt like Clemson was down just one score. It had the feeling more like it was 14-0, 17-0, 17-3 or whatever, and that they were 2 touchdowns down instead of 1 score down, and that's a testament to that defense and how well they played. That's gonna be a defense that's gonna be hard to score on this year. If Georgia has a tough time scoring on them, the rest of the country don't have a whole lot of hope.
Yeah, so for as good as Clemson's defense was, I think it felt that way because Georgia, every time they got the ball, they moved it a little bit. They weren't running down the field, but they would usually get like a 30-yard drive, 35. They'd convert a couple first downs, then they'd have to punt. So they were moving the ball. Their running game wasn't Georgia-esque, but they still ran for 121. So they had some plays. They generated some offense, but that defense, yes. James Skalski had 14 tackles, Mario Goodrich with 12, and Makuba, as you mentioned, with 8 tackles and a pass defense. Just a stellar effort. All right, well, the season's not over, of course, Jason. They're going to keep playing football, so it's not the end of the world. You go to the ACC play here in a couple of weeks with Georgia Tech. Of course, it's South Carolina State this week, and it causes the people, hey, I'll include myself to a certain extent, that thought, okay, Clemson's going to just run through the ACC. Well, they're definitely still the best team. I don't think anybody with any football knowledge is going to debate that. But, hey, if Georgia could do this defensively, and nobody's close to Georgia on the schedule, but still, on a given day, you can now see maybe a trip to North Carolina State or a trip to Pitt, some teams that are pretty good on a given day. If Clemson brings their C game and those teams are on their A game, where we could run into a Syracuse situation or a Pitt situation from 2016.
Yeah, I'm a believer in this North Carolina State team. I think that's an 8-9 win team. I said it before the season started. I think Dave Doran's got a good team this year. I mean, I'm not saying they're on the level of Clemson by any stretch, but that's a team that can give you trouble, especially on the road if you don't bring your A game. And especially with the leaky offensive line we saw Saturday night. Pitt's another team that can do that in the ACC. They always have good defenses. They always know how to get after the quarterback. So another instance of where a leaky offensive line can hurt you. But, this South Carolina State game coming up this week is coming up at almost the perfect time. Perfect time probably would have been to have it week 1 and let them work out the kinks and then play Georgia, but be that as it may, it's coming at a good time because the as few carries as those running backs got the other night, it makes me wonder if the coaching staff fully trusts those guys yet. Will Shipley's still a freshman, despite all the praise he got in fall camp and spring practice. He's still a freshman. And Clemson asks a lot out of their freshman running back, especially in pass protection. And I saw Pace and Maffa, have some mess-ups in pass pro the other night. And it could be a case where they just don't fully trust those guys yet. And playing South Carolina State is a great opportunity for those guys to get some reps against a smaller FCS school, a team you don't have to worry about beating you really. And let them get some of that experience and gain some of that trust. Same thing with some of those young guys on the offensive line, behind the starters like Paul Tio and Mitchell Mays. Get those guys some reps. Same thing with the freshman receivers. I know Dabo Swinney said he wished he could have gotten Bo Collins in the game the other night. Just the opportunity never presented itself with the game being so close. But, EJ Williams is out 4 to 6 weeks with a thumb injury. So, one of those other receivers is going to have to step up, and it'll probably be Bo Collins that gets the first opportunity. But, yeah, this South Carolina State game is coming at the right time. I didn't even mention anything about DJ. It's a perfect time to get him some of his confidence back because, it looks like, he might could use that. And then with Georgia Tech coming in right behind them, Georgia Tech's not very good. Who'd they lose to the other day? I don't forgot.
Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
At home.
Georgia Tech's going the wrong way under Jeff Collins, apparently. Maybe that wasn't as good as some of us thought it was, but that's a game they can't lose. either way, though, that it gives Clemson 2 weeks to kind of go back to the drawing board, self-evaluate, see where they got to get better, see what they can do to get better, see where any adjustments have to be made before they hit the road and travel to Raleigh. Because I don't think that might not be the gimme game that many people expected to start the season. You know, this offense struggled the other night. It didn't look like it had. It looked like it didn't have an identity yet. They're still looking for it. We won't be able to tell a lot from the South Carolina State game, but 2 weeks from now against Georgia Tech, I'll be paying attention to the offense, the game plan of the offense, seeing what kind of identity they establish, and how dedicated they are to actually establishing the running the ball.
Jason Priester, Clemson football, allclemson.com on SI. Join his work right there. He delivers for us all the time. Jason, we always appreciate you being here.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Thanks, Mark.